Today, I'm going to be showing off a new feature at retrodiffusion.ai. So this is the My Styles feature. And basically what it lets you do is just create custom styles with like text definitions and using reference images and that kind of stuff. This has actually been a long time coming. It's been kind of in development since we introduced the RD Pro styles. And it's sort of based off of the same principle that lets those exist and work. So you can just click that button, or you can go up to the tab here, and then you just create your first style. Right now, there's only one template to choose from, but we're working on some more, specifically an animation template, so you can like upload a sprite sheet and kind of generate animations with that sort of motion in them. That's not ready yet, but right now we have this image style. So you can just click that and load it into here, and you see it's got a bunch of settings, and I'll kind of just go over what these are. So you've got obviously the style name and description. These don't actually do anything. They're just kind of, labels to help you know what it is. They're also helpful if you choose to share these. So I'm just going to make a portrait one. Pretty simple. You have an icon that you can choose. Again, this is just for your own organization. I'm going to choose that. Here, there is the reference images section, and you can see that this has some pretty specific requirements, and that's actually because of how the model generates images itself. So these requirements do need to be met. 1:1 aspect ratio, so it's a square image. It needs to be 256 by 256 pixels at native resolution. So what that means is the image could be upscaled. It just needs to scale down cleanly to 256 by 256. So I'm just going to grab a reference image here. And you can see that this one is actually 1024 by 1024. But its native resolution is 256 by 256. So when I select it, it will just drop that in right there. You can add more than one, but I recommend sticking to just one for now because that'll keep things nice and clean. So then we've got this AI prompt enhancement piece here. And what this does is it basically tells the model what you want prompts to look like. You can sort of just put stuff in here and it'll figure it out. But for example, I'm going to say, and then here there's a more specific prompt template. So what's going to happen is when you or someone else goes to type in a prompt for this model, like maybe I say, give me a guy with an eye patch, right? It'll take guy with an eye patch, pass it through this. So it'll say, change that to something like a close-up portrait of a guy with an eye patch. He's got brown hair, blah, 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 blah. It'll expand on it a little bit, give it a solid color background, and then it will slot it in here where this prompt chunk is. So I'm actually just going to leave this as is because I think that's fine. Well, actually, let's try and not clash with this style here. We're going to remove this detailed textures bit. So that should just work as is. You can do a little test inside of the style here, but I'm actually just going to create it and then go and use it on the page. It'll take a little bit to save, and that's just because it's generating all of the stuff in the background. All right, there we go. So now it's saved. I can head over here to the My Styles section, and I'll just say, like, I don't know, a pirate. All right, there we go. That's the image generated, and you can see that it's a pretty similar style to that reference that we gave, which is neat. That's kind of the whole point of this tool is like making stuff in similar styles to the references you provide. So I mean, I could ask for different kinds of stuff. I could be more specific with the prompt, all that kind of stuff. But let's go and let's make another style, and I'll show you something maybe a little more interesting. This one will be, let's go with isometric tiles. And I will grab that. I think that icon fits it. And then I'm going to use this template here, or sorry, not template, reference image. And I'm actually going to, we're going to leave on the prompt enhancement. And I'll say, and I'm just going to go into the prompt here, and we're going to, okay, well, if you leave the prompt bit out of that, the text that you put into it will be totally ignored. This might be helpful if you're doing something like, I don't know, a resizing style, or a style that like converts things into pixel art, that kind of thing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in uh, kind of what I put above, but a little bit phrased different here. Okay, I'm going to change this style guide a little bit too. I think that's a little more clear. It's good to give this style guide like a lot more context about the thing you're trying to generate, because that's really what helps create your images. And I'm going to enable this force background removal. So it will just automatically remove the backgrounds every time you use this style. So we're going to save that and head back to the main area. Now we've got the isometric tiles bit here. So let's try like lava area, something like that. All right, and you can see that it didn't quite understand what we wanted it to do. But what we can do now is we can go back here and we can edit the style and be a little bit more specific with what we want. So I'm going to go with and we'll see if that works a little bit better. All right, there we go. You can see that that is much better. Still not quite getting the 5x3 aspect of it, but we can keep tweaking that prompt to get it right where we want it. And then once it works, it'll just work, and we can just enter normal prompts here for all the kinds of assets that we want to generate. So this is really, really useful for like matching the style of images that you give it, but then also matching like the structure and kind of thing to generate. So super, super powerful tool, and all of the generations just cost the same as any of the regular RD Pro styles. Yeah, so go ahead and start making some custom styles of your very own.